In the Garden of Gethsemane, Jesus asked God for permission to be excused from a bitter death. Some religious leaders of the day who oppose his person and teachings have finalized their scheme to have him killed. It's Jesus' obedience to say and do as God determined that has led him to this moment. He knew it was coming. On a number of occasions, he told his disciples he would be betrayed into the hands of the scribes and chief priests, who will give him over to the Roman government to be crucified. But on the third day, he would rise from the dead. Now it's all coming together. I don't think it's dying that most concerns Jesus. I think his anxiety is largely from knowing he will be betrayed by a close disciple, mocked by antagonizers, beat severely, have nails driven through his flesh, and left to die in public. The thought alone hurts. It seems unnecessary. So Jesus prays 3 times for this horrific experience to pass from him, but God gives a hard answer. No. While God understands and feels Jesus' pain, this dreadful experience will not be the end of him. There is sweetness awaiting beyond this bitter moment. At times, you will ask God for what seems pretty reasonable, and God will say no. The door doesn't open, the way isn't made, the dots don't connect, it just doesn't work. It's God saying, I have another way. Please know that not getting or going your preferred way doesn't mean you're not on the way to your preferred outcome. Jesus isn't fond of God's answer, but he submits, saying, not my will, but your will be done. While it's not the way Jesus would choose for himself, he trusts God's way will lead him to the good outcome of resurrection. Jesus' transparency with God proves that prayer is a safe place to ask hard questions and share honest emotional responses to hard experiences. God will always comfort you in prayer, just not always with your desired answer. And so, when you ask for this and get that, remember, Jesus asked to not be murdered, and he was arrested and killed anyway. Did God not answer his prayer? Of course God did, but just not how Jesus desired. It was a hard answer that came with a comforting assurance from an ever-present God. In my early days of serving as a church leader, a deacon shared some wisdom with me. He said, try not to tell people no and leave it at that. Provide some alternative options if possible. When God doesn't give you your preferred answer, remember God always has an alternative option. We've all faced bitter moments, and many have prayed for God to allow the storm to pass them without getting wet. People around the world have asked God for loved ones to not die, to not lose a job, to overcome a health challenge, to stay out the troubling rain, and still got wet. These are hard answers. And for some, it's a sign that God isn't involved or that God is uncaring. My friends, when you pray and it doesn't go your way, remember God has an alternative way. And so trust, like Jesus, that God, who always has your heart's best interest in mind, will not allow the hard experiences to have the final say. So don't shut down when it doesn't go your way. Look up for the alternative route that your loving God has made for you to rise again. Peace.